Ladies and gentlemen, Siege X was revealed about two-ish weeks ago now, and I really had to sit on this one and think about it before making the video. I have some raw gameplay from my streams in the background, so you can see my amazing talent. Joking. But I have been playing this game since year one, season one, and I am passionate about the title. Initially, I was excited for this new version of the game, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized it's kind of just a glorified patch. They've spent the last 3 years, which in the AAA gaming sphere is about half the time it takes to produce a brand new game, and made something that should have been just an exciting year 10 update instead of taking the time to plan and create a new game. Now, look, new visuals and sound propagation are both great, but the new interactable objects in the world have me a little bit concerned. I see a decent amount of hype around this, but realistically, I think overall it's going to cause a lot of frustration and what people consider cheap deaths. Why, you may ask? And that's simply because you've taken a game that's PvP and made it PvPvE. Before you had to worry about the other team's gadgets and skill, now you have to worry about the aforementioned plus a random element that wasn't planned by the opposition. Obviously, these elements can swing in both attackers and defenders' way, but if you lose a match because of pipe bursts and not because the enemy team actually killed you with good aim, is it going to seem fair? If someone completely boxes you out of a room because they didn't swing you and kill you, but rather shot a gas pipe and held you at bay, does that seem right? It's not smart gadget placement by the enemy team, but it's designed by the creators of the game. Now, we've had to deal with environmental elements before, but nothing that can really kill us. Sure, an operator can go above you, shoot out the floor, and then shoot down on you, but that debris that's falling is not the thing that's hurting you. Something like a Goyo canister in this current iteration of the game is a deliberate choice by the enemy opposition and not the devs. And it's really based on the enemy's wits and their choice of placements where that environmental flame and fire can actually hurt you. Imagine, if you will, Warzone changed airstrikes to bring down buildings. To me, totally cool concept. But if they added it into the game right now, players would revolt. Not that many players are playing Warzone right now, at least not until Verdansk drops at some point today. But if your whole team is wiped out because a building is brought down on you, something completely out of your control, are you going to feel cheated? This environmental thing is a little sketchy to me. I'm not really sure how it's going to play out until I get my hands on it, but I am definitely hesitant about this. Additionally, they've added a new mode which seems very convoluted, and it kind of appears to be only a trap for players who don't want to pay for ranked. Siege X is going free to play with a caveat. If you own the game now, you're grandfathered in, and you don't have to pay any additional fees for ranked play. However, if you're a new player, you have to purchase access to additional operators and the ranked game mode. The new game mode that they added seems like a mess. They've removed the one shot headshot mechanics, which are core element to Siege, and the objectives seem to be not really well defined. And frankly, it doesn't even seem like Rainbow Six. It feels like the developers are going after COD's domination or seek and destroy game modes, and Siege is not built for that. The movement is too slow and clunky, and the overall feel is just off. I see this as something that will be dead probably within the first couple of months, not to mention how unprepared those you convert to buy the ranked gameplay will be when, one shot headshot mechanics are added and the more tactical nature of the game comes into play. Really, it's two different titles altogether, and neither one play like the other. Another thing that has me worried, and you may laugh at this, but it's the movement away from the Tom Clancy title. They've even changed the iconic Rainbow Six logo with the gun in the middle of the six. This may seem benign, but when you see that six logo and that gun, you immediately know the title that you're looking at. They've even removed Rainbow Six from the title. Well, not officially, but all their posts online are just saying play Siege X. It seems as the gameplay has evolved from this semi hardcore tactical shooter to the hero shooter that it sort of is now, they're going to keep pushing in that direction. You can't deny the popularity that Siege has grown over the past decade, but this feels like a mistake. Feels like as the game progresses, we will get more Valorant and Overwatch style gadgets and less grounded, everyday, real world gadgets. Don't get me wrong, Rainbow Six Siege is still my go to multiplayer shooter for now, but that's because that no one does what Rainbow Six does. If a game like Ready or Not came out with multiplayer and the destructibility of Siege and kept things grounded with the operators and gadgets, hell, if COD made search and destroy a one shot headshot mechanic and added destructibility akin to Siege, Rainbow Six would be dead in the water. If those games didn't have, light walls and robots and all the kind of goofy stuff running around, consider me gone. The moment Siege has a true competitor, this game will be lost. Rainbow Six Siege had peak excitement in 2024 with a little over 200,000 players total. This is just going off of Steam charts. This is when it peaked the most. This is right around the time Siege was getting back to a true to form and moving away from those really high sci-fi elements. Year 9 started strong, following suit, and then there was a huge drop off when the robot wheelchair operator was added. Now, if Rainbow Six would stop focusing on these character backstories, which people only really get angry over, and would just list the new operator and what they could do, they probably would be in a better position. The story doesn't affect the gameplay, so why add it to the game other than to virtue signal? As you can see, peak Siege is when you focus on those abilities and the more realistic cosmetics. Am I saying to go back to a hardcore tactical shooter? No. I would love it, but it definitely would lose a large player base. I'm saying stop focus on the elements that don't matter and just produce fun, entertaining gameplay. If you want to tell a story, work on a separate story title like you did with Extraction or like you did with the TV series Jack Ryan. It doesn't belong in the Rainbow Six Siege game, but I would play the hell out of a Splinter Cell style story driven Tom Clancy Rainbow Six title. Single player, multiplayer, first person, third person, it doesn't matter. You are sitting on a pile of gold if you make a gritty, tactical, story based driven shooter within the Rainbow Six world. Traveling across the globe as an elite special forces unit fighting terrorism, money. But I digress. With 3 years of development, they could have announced that at the end of year 10, it was going to conclude with Siege 2. Brand new engine, brand new game, maybe have some of the older, more popular maps and more popular characters come back for the new game and kind of have a fresh start, but that's not what we got. We didn't get Siege 2. We didn't get Siege 1.5. We kind of sort of got a Siege 1.25. I hope they have something big set up for the seasons to unfold to us, because within the next 10 years, which is what they're expecting this game to last for, I can't imagine someone is not going to come after Siege and their title and create a better, more polished, more grounded, and unique game. They've spent the last 3 years on these changes, and really the only thing I can see to be excited for are the visual and audio updates. So, in essence, it's kind of the same game with a new skin. But those are just my thoughts and how I'm feeling about this new direction that Siege is going in. What are you guys thinking about Siege X? Do you play Siege now? Are you interested in the game or interested in the new version of this game? Sound off in the comments below, and I will talk to you all in the next one.